The best leaders in life are the ones who can just roll with the punches, and that's exactly what Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos did this week on their East Coast road trip. We get a big answer to a question we've all been asking since Alex Singleton went out, and we get good and bad news on the Denver Broncos injury report heading into our game at JetLife Stadium on Sunday against the New York Jets. If you're new to the channel, my name is Ben. I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan, and if you like the Broncos too, it helps me and the algorithm out a lot if you would hit the like and subscribe button. So diving in, we know that Sean Payton asked the NFL when he looked ahead at the schedule and saw that we have 4 games going to the East Coast and playing at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. That has been our Achilles heel, and we have not done well with it. So he asked the NFL, give me 2 of those back-to-back. I'm not sure if he would have wanted 2 of them back-to-back this early in the season. I can't believe through 4 weeks and Bo has only played in front of the home crowd 1 time. Yet here we are, and that request was honored by Commissioner Goodell, and here we are, and we played in Tampa. We go and we hang out at this Greenbrier facility, which is a gorgeous facility, and then a hurricane hits the East Coast, which is wild, and I guess the rain was just coming down in bunches, and the Broncos were scheduled to do their final walkthrough out in inclement weather. Sean Payton decided to do a major pivot, and the Denver Broncos did their first ever walkthrough on a pickleball court. And actually, like, this seems very, very odd, but there are several times, like, for away games, I even remember hearing about the Super Bowl lead up, especially when it was in New York, where we're doing walkthroughs in, like, hotel ballrooms. High school football teams do walkthroughs all the time on a basketball court, but several dudes were asked about it, and they're like, this is the first time I've ever done an NFL walkthrough on pickleball tennis ball court. Yet, Sean Payton came out and was telling Mike Kliss he actually kind of digs it. He thinks that anytime you can switch up the script like this and have one of those like memorable team bonding type things, the players will look back at that and actually be pumped and use that. We know this team is young and hungry, and now they've spent an entire week together battling through the adversity of hearing that Singleton went down, battling through the adversity of not even being able to practice on this field, not seeing their kids and family for 10 plus days, and going and battling a Jets team that is coming off of 10 days rest. And I think this is just something that is going to actually be a really good thing. Sean Payton saying, I kind of dig it. It keeps the team on their toes. I didn't even realize they had these facilities. So I think this will end up being one of those things that when Club Dub is blasting on Sunday, because the Denver Broncos have shocked the world again, even though they're 8-point underdogs to the New York Jets, and they've come out victorious because they have a strong bond, they believe in each other, and that's absolutely true. When we look at the injury report, obviously we have crushing news that Alex Singleton isn't even on the injury report because he has already been ruled out for the rest of the games. We are hearing some good news. So the first good piece of news is that we have Devon Vele back. He's not even on the injury report. He is expected to play on Sunday. He's been battling some rib issues. A lot of pain, obviously, in ribs. Anytime you got to go up high for a ball, that's got to be absolutely excruciating, yet there aren't further complications that can come of that. He is expected to be a full participant, and just do not forget how good he was and what a favorite target he was for Bo Nix. I think we saw Bo's best game last week. Imagine now when he's got Vele, Reynolds, and Cortland Sutton. That's going to be wild, and I think we're going to continue to see more of the Troy Franklin packages. I think we're going to see more of the Marvin Mims packages. And this week, I really think for the first time, we'll start to see the tight ends be incorporated into this. So we need a big week from Dulcich to step up. Switching to the other side of the ball, I think we do have good news that while we have lost our starting middle linebacker, inside linebacker, I guess, because of how this defense plays out in Singleton, the Jets are in a tough spot there as well, as they are also down CJ Mosley. He is very likely not going to play with turf toe. We know the MetLife turf is like some of the worst for injuries, and so they're going to hold him out. They go to London next week. You kind of hope the Jets are looking forward to that, and then they come back and play the Bills fresh off of that. So they've got a tough stretch here. Yes, they've had 10 days of rest, but you're hoping that they are looking ahead to that. And them going in without their starting inside linebacker too, I think on paper, nobody would doubt that Mosley is a better player than Singleton. And so for them to be missing him and we're missing ours, I think that's kind of a wash in that way. Then we're taking a look here at their offensive line, and their starting right tackle is out and has already been ruled out for the game. They are replacing him with a guy they picked in the first round. And so that's not as big of a drop-off as it was when the Denver Broncos lost Mike McGlinchey. But while we are definitely hammered with injuries, I think the same can be said of New York Jets as well. And they also have a veteran who is kind of dinged up, and they've held out, and he didn't practice most of the entire week, but they're saying that he will be a game time. He's going to be active in Tyron Smith. Big news that we did get is indeed that Cody Barton. We wondered, okay, not only Singleton like the vocal leader, he's also the guy who gets the call from Vance Joseph in his ear and relays it to the rest of the team, who is going to be the green dot guy on Sundays, and it indeed is going to be Cody Barton. We have needed Cody Barton to step up. There were a lot of times where the Broncos actually ran a one linebacker set with only one inside linebacker, and it almost seemed at times that Vance Joseph was trying to hide Cody Barton, and so we are really going to need him to step up. Are we going to see Lavelle Bailey dressed for this game? I think that would be awesome. I know that Sean Payton loved Lavelle Bailey. That, of course, was the player that as the draft was winding down, we were in the 7th round. Sean Payton knew he wasn't going to get drafted and was able to kind of predict that, and he picks up the phone and calls him not once, but calls him a second time and convinces him to come sign on with the Denver Broncos, and several other NFL teams wanted him. And then he had that, 80-plus yard interception return for a touchdown in the preseason. And so I think Lavelle Bailey has always been in Sean Payton's long-term plans, but man, those plans got accelerated massively as we are going to need him to play right now. When I think of why I think this matchup is so good for the Denver Broncos, I cannot help but just be grinning ear to ear with how good our pass rush has been. And it's coming from multiple levels. Like you got John Franklin Meyer, former Jet. He's going to want to lay it on his former team. You got Zach Wilson giving his expertise. He knows the Nathaniel Hackett system and has been in all of those meetings. And so the familiarity that both of those dudes can provide to our coaching staff to scheme up the type of scheme we need to beat these guys, I think that doesn't go understated either, that Zach Wilson and John Franklin Meyer were on this team just a few months ago and can tell us better than anyone, how do we beat them? And then I look at how incredible our pass rush has been, and I think especially of Cooper Bonito and Jonah Ellis, and just NFL teams know that you can't stop our edge rushers with one guy, and so they are number 2 and number 3 for the highest ranked players who you have to chip. And so they have been chipped, meaning they bring in a tight end, they bring in another running back to help the tackle with the blocking scheme, because you can't single team either of these guys. And if you got too many guys on the defensive line, you can't single team. That is going to be a great sign for us. And so you're going up against a backup right tackle, most likely. And I think these guys are just going to eat. And I think Aaron Rodgers is incredible against the blitz, and Vance Joseph has really relied on the blitz thus far. We cannot allow that to burn us. So we need Riley Moss, we need Pat Surtain to lock down those receivers on their own so that we can bring a little extra pressure. I truly think the key to this victory is not going to be Aaron Rodgers. I'm not scared of a 40-year-old coming off an Achilles injury. The key to this game is, can we stop Breece Hall in the run? We've played him the past 2 years in a row. We've played the Jets, and we only played him for a game and a half because he tore his ACL right around halftime of the first time we played him. But through 2 games, he has almost 240 yards rushing in a game and a half of action against us. If that happens, the Broncos are in bad shape. We need to ball control. We need to get Javonte Williams the ball. We need to get Bidet the ball. We need to get Jaleel the ball and control the time of clock. Just keep Nathaniel Hackett on the sideline, shaking his head, knowing Aaron Rodgers can't get in. And because the New York Jets rely on creating pressure with 4, we saw what exactly the Titans did. Titans almost beat Jets week 2. We saw how the San Francisco 49ers beat them week 1, and it was running the ball, and that is what we need to do this week, and I trust that we're going to. I think the Denver Broncos are going to shock the world. We are a tight, young, and hungry team who believe in each other, who have stepped up and already fought through adversity 4 weeks in, and we are going to beat the Jets on the road, and that's something we can all believe in.